All right, howdy boys. All right, so I said I would do a recap. Of all the Dynasty Leagues. I don't know if I'll be quite that ambitious. But we did the first three teams a few nights ago. Alex, 24, and Reish. And in the wake of which, 24 immediately started doing 24 trades, as 24s want to do. And Alex completely abandoned all hope for 2024, both of which I felt were wise. Well, I didn't so much love all of 24's trades, but both of which broadly I felt was wise. So you can tell these videos are very influential. So if I say something should happen, motherfucker, you better believe it. All right. So this is not the right league. So we're continuing on with F1 because nobody told me to do any of the other F leagues yet. Actually, Pac wanted me to do F2 because he really likes his team in there. But I'm not doing that right now. We're carrying on with F1 to completion. I like to do things to completion, folks. All right. So next up, we have Lou, Bronc, and Ben. And I'm going to do those teams in no particular order. I think I'll start with Ben's. So Ben actually put together a nice team in this league. Right out of last year's draft, he left with like George Kittle. Who else did he grab? I think he drafted Jamar Chase. Some other guys. He grabbed Tua, which at the time I thought was a pretty good pick. It was a little bit early, but I liked it a lot. He got good value on like Jared Goff, Alvin Kamara, and predictably he had a pretty good season. I don't know offhand what his record was, but I think he had one of the like 2 or 3 best records in the league, and therefore made the playoffs. So and he his native one was the 9, so he must have finished 4th overall. So anyway, toward the end of last season, Ben made kind of not really a throwaway trade, but a trade that didn't seem quite so seismic at the time. He traded Brock Purdy. He traded Brock Purdy because he had a little bit of a quarterback surplus. He had Tua, Goff, and Purdy, who he also got for great value in that draft. Back when we thought Trey Lance had a hope. Those were the days. So anyway, around the trade deadline, he traded Purdy to Andrew Schooler's team. Andrew Schooler, who had Justin Fields and Derek Carr at the top, which was for a moment there looked even more disastrous than it does right now. So Schooler traded for Purdy, and he traded his first and Brian Robinson for Brock Purdy. So a big buy even at the time, and that pick has turned out to be the number 2 overall pick in the 2024 draft. Schooler's team continued its slide almost all the way into the Caleb Williams pick. So that is to say that not only does Ben have a nice team as it stands, he did trade away his first rounder to 24 for something. I don't know what the heck it was. Something dumb. But so he's got a team that's ready to compete right now, and he has what we assume is the Marvin Harrison Jr. pick. Harper has the 1-1 in this league, and while he hasn't said who he's picking, he's shopping Baker Mayfield and Aaron Rodgers pretty hard, which would leave him with no second quarterback. So he's kind of telegraphing pretty hard that Caleb is going to be the pick, which I think is the right pick. So anyway, what Ben has here is he's got Tua and Jared Goff, and really that's it. I think that those actually might be the only quarterbacks on his entire roster at the moment. So as a lot of you may know, I'm pretty skeptical on both Tua and Jared Goff. So right away, I think he's got depth issues, and possibly even, well, Tua's not going anywhere in 2024. That would be deeply shocking. But Goff could be on the move. That would not be terribly shocking to me, especially if Ben Johnson winds up leaving. Maybe he follows Johnson, since Johnson maybe kind of single-handedly saved Jared Goff's career. So regardless, like whether Goff stays in Detroit and Ben Johnson leaves, or Goff follows Johnson to some other worse team, between that and the fact that Tua is kind of iffy, I think we can all agree on that. Between those two quarterbacks, there's the potential for volatility, obviously injury as well. So he doesn't need a good quarterback, but he needs a third quarterback. He needs another quarterback on the roster for sure. He's got plenty of draft picks, so he can definitely add somebody. All right, so looking at his running backs, he's got James Cook, Brian Robinson, which is solid. Jerome Ford, we don't really know what the future holds for him. at the moment, I would kind of think that he's back as like the lead guy in Cleveland. There's no way Nick Chubb is going to be ready for Week 1. I don't really think Nick Chubb plays in 2024. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I'm not very high on that as a thought. Kamara, also nice. So he's got Cook, Brian Robinson, and Kamara. Only Kamara getting really long in the tooth there. Brian Robinson is being destabilized by regime change. New general manager, new head coach, new everything. So, that didn't do Khalil Herbert any particular favors last year when, not that they had the same GM and same head coach, but they brought in, obviously they went hard at him with Dante. They signed Dante Foreman. They drafted Roshan Johnson. So, Antonio Gibson is probably gone, which is nice, but Chris Rodriguez definitely showed some juice toward the end of the season last year, and the Commanders could absolutely draft somebody. So still like Brian Robinson, and he's great depth on any dynasty team, but his value's a little bit in flux, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But the running backs are all right. He doesn't really have very many though. Yeah, Ben, you at least need some running back like lottery tickets. The Keontae Ingram Keontae Ingram season is over until further notice. He's not even on the. Oh my God, I didn't even know that Ingram was not on the Cardinals anymore. He's on the Chiefs. What the hell? I mean, that's kind of cool. It's bad news for Deneric Prince, but it's nice for Ingram. All right, so still Ingram is a long shot to ever be anything. Demercado, I kind of liked Demercado. What I saw of him in 2023, he's pretty zippy with the ball. But who knows? I mean, they got him for free, so who knows what their level of attachment is to him. Yeah, he's not bad depth though. Jerick McKinnon, I mean, he's going into his age 32 season. You did all right, Jerick, but it's time. Evans is a lottery ticket. I was a bit of an Evans hype man myself last summer. Grabbed him in a league. I'm not super optimistic, but I would have said the same thing if I was a Kyron Williams owner this time last year. So doesn't hurt. Nice backfield to have a piece of, I suppose. As for his receivers, he goes out, he trades away Jordan Addison, which yikes. I don't know if that was his Bears fan gene kicking in or what, but he trades away Jordan Allen for Keenan Allen and Christian Kirk. So he's going hardcore win now, and that did not work out at all. So now he's got a badly aging Keenan Allen, maybe back in LA, maybe not. We don't really know. Mike Williams might be gone, so that'd be good. But yeah, Keenan Allen's future is super uncertain. Christian Kirk's is not though. Actually, I like that grab in terms of like a intermediate term value add for him. Kirk is going to be the guy there in 2024, whether Calvin Ridley's back or not, and that's very much a question. The Jaguars do figure to draft a receiver, but whatever. Yeah, Kirk should eat at the head of the table for at least one more season, so that's nice. The receiver core overall is nice. Chase, Kirk, Waddle is a nice rock solid 1 through 3. Michael Wilson definitely has some upside. Demarcus Robinson's a free agent. He might be back with LA, but I mean, who knows? How much can you trust that? Zay Jones is probably cooked, especially after he joined the Slapaho tribe. Mooney's a free agent. Ben would probably know better than me what his odds are of being back in Chicago, or if that would even be a good thing. So he's got nice depth overall at receiver. That's nice. He's a tad thin at running back. He's a tad thin, especially were injury to strike at all. He'd be super thin. But Cook, Brian Robinson, Alvin Kamara, and Jerome Ford, you're not destitute. You're not eating at the soup kitchen every night of the week. And then at tight end, he's got Kittle, Kmet. That's pretty darn rock solid as well. Oh, and Jake Ferguson. Okay, wow. So really, Ben is pretty darn well stocked overall, except for at quarterback. Dealing away that depth, that third quarterback did hurt going forward. You had to do it, even at the time before we knew it was going to be the 1-2 and thought it might be like outside the top 6. That was a smash sell. So yeah, he's filthy rich here. And obviously the receivers, he figures to have Marvin Harrison Jr. incoming. And then I think he still has a late second. Does he still have a late second? Yeah, so he's got the 1-2, and then he goes down to the 2-9. Could get nice pieces at both those spots, frankly. But yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr. Plus Jamar Chase is going to be pretty darn difficult to deal with. So yeah, he's sitting pretty. He needs to grab onto some sort of like breaking case of emergency thing at quarterback. But yeah, this is a team that can come back and make another championship push for sure. It's not very old. I mean, rookie contract, rookie, has at least 1 year of contract security. I think Kittle is signed through 2025. He's definitely not an impending free agent, so he's got at least 2024 left on his deal. He is 30. Kittle is 30 years old, but whatever. No, obviously no sign of slowing down. Still in the lead offense. Rookie deal. Goff is under contract for another year, but there's no guaranteed money left in it, so who knows, really. And then Tua is going into a contract year, and there'll be a lot of stink about that. So yeah, this team can compete. Ben could absolutely be in the final. This in 2024, he doesn't need that much to go right, and that's even before Marvin Harrison Jr. potentially comes out and has like a Justin Jefferson type year as a rookie. So yeah, Ben's in good shape. All right, going from Ben to Bronc. Bronc taking over one of the teams that I forced to vacate in a few weeks ago. I don't apologize at all. Sorry, I don't apologize at all. All right, so Broncos takes over a team that was already in pretty good shape, and 24 has gifted him a couple of trades that, well, actually it was 24 and Reish actually gifted him, I think, given an even bigger gift. But anyway, looking at what Bronc is sitting on here, so obviously he's got Mahomes and Lawrence. The previous owner sold out hard to get those two, I think, in the startup. So he's stocked up nicely at quarterback. Russ dying on him, definitely hurt though. So he's got, again, kind of like Ben, he's got no third quarterback at all here. He's got a couple nobodies rotting on the taxi squad. So yeah, I mean, Trevor Lawrence and Mahomes obviously have unparalleled job security, so you're really just talking about injury there. But yeah, a third quarterback never hurts for bye weeks of some sort. Achane Javonte Williams at running back Achane Javonte Williams at running back is a solid one too. Although, yeah, you don't really have a true number one there. And yes, I love Achane as much as the next guy, but come on. Raheem Mostert is probably going to be back in Miami to screw everything up. McLaughlin, there's some early McLaughlin buzz that he could put Samaje Perine on the street and move fully into like a 60-40 split with Javonte if he plays his cards right this summer. So yeah, McLaughlin's a nice piece. James Conner, great piece. I think did you just trade for that, Bronc? I think you did. There's no reason for the Cardinals not to run it back with Conner in 2024. He's under contract for another year. They might have to give him a pay raise, actually, but whatever. Conner should get at least one more year in the desert with the Cardinals kind of on the up and up. That's a very nice piece to have when you're competing, which he definitely is. P. Ryan, I just said, is a cut candidate, but he might stick around. However, you can't, as his owner and also owning McLaughlin, kind of hope that he moves on and maybe catches on as a passing down specialist on a different team so that you can, the pieces that you have, more of the pie. Having all three of the Denver running backs you're kind of limiting your in-house upside since only one football on that team. Jamal Williams in New Orleans, I thought that would work out early in 2023. It really didn't. The Saints offense wasn't very good a lot of the season. They perked up at the end, but yeah, I don't know offhand if Jamal Williams has any guaranteed money yet, but he obviously fell off hard from his heydays in Detroit. So is that even quality depth at this point? I can't say. A.J. Dillon, same exact thing. He is an unrestricted free agent, and man, what a bleak situation for Dillon to be going to free agency in this class. That's almost cruel of the Packers. So he's solid at running back. Achane and Javonte, they both have legitimate upside cases for 2024. McLaughlin is a nice backstop for Javonte, and James Conner kind of glides overall. So running back, kind of similar to Ben, actually. Shallow, a little bit shallow, but the pieces he has are solid. All right, and then at receiver, I think he just traded for Jacoby Myers. I don't know. Bronc's been doing a lot of trades, as I take it is the Bronc way. So he's got Jacoby Myers, he's got Brandon Ayuk, he's got Devontae Adams, all nice. He's got Calvin Ridley, less nice. He's got Chris Godwin, less nice. But both those guys, Devontae too, frankly, they have upside cases for 2024. And if Devontae were to get traded, that would almost be like a double whammy for Bronc because he's got Devontae, who might go to like the Jets. Financially, I don't know if it is particularly viable, but if Aaron Rodgers wants to make it happen, he has a lot of money he could move around. So he's got, if Devontae were to go to the Jets, that would be like a double hit for Bronc because he's got Jacoby, and then Jacoby would kind of ascend to the number one by default. So that would be huge for him. So there's a lot of upside in his receiver core. Godwin is better than his numbers were this year. Calvin Ridley, we don't really know. We don't really know what's going to happen there. He could be back with the Jags. He could sign a one-year deal somewhere, kind of like DJ Chark. We don't know, but he's got a shot to at least repeat his numbers from 2024 or from 2023. And then he's got Nico Collins, who obviously is an ascendant talent. So and he trades for Kupp. So yeah, he is thick with quality dudes at receiver. He's well stocked. I would say he's neck and neck with Ben, frankly, in terms of the potential for this group. Ayuk obviously coming off of a huge season as well. So yeah, I like the receivers a lot. At tight end, he's got Likely starting, but that was probably improvised from injuries. Just trades for Kincaid from Reish for pretty cheap, I would say. Kincaid he got for another Reish Whopper. He sent his 2024 first, which is like it was outside the top 6. Like I think it was like the 7. So he sent his 2024 first, his 2024 fourth, and a 2025 third to Reish for Kincaid and a couple of seconds. I think that's a solid deal. I mean, the 3 pieces that Bronc got, those could all be superstars or at least solid contributors. It's likely that only one of the picks he sent away produces one of those, frankly. Like the first has a good chance, but the third has a pretty weak chance. The fourth has almost no chance. So, yeah, I think Bronc slammed Reish on this trade, but Reish seemed to be all right with that possibility. Anyway, Reish was really obsessed with having a certain sequence of first-round picks last week, and now he's on to some new obsession, I'm sure. Anyway, so he's got Kincaid as his presumed tight end 1. I don't love it for 2024 because, as I've been saying, Dalton Kincaid, he's got a Dawson Knox problem that's not going away in 2024, but he's obviously still one of the best dynasty pieces to have at tight end, and Reish gave him away at clearance pricing, so good for you, Bronc. Waller is rotting produce. I mean, he's going into his age 32 season. He's got dog shit situation at quarterback. Maybe Daniel Bellinger perks up a little bit. I mean, I don't know. Waller is a sell, especially with everything else that you have, Bronc. Get rid of Waller while he still has any value, if you're smart. But Schultz is nice. He is a free agent, but I think there's a slightly better than 50-50 chance that he's back in Houston. And actually, it doesn't even matter since you have him backstopped by Brevin Jordan. I would imagine that the Texans' order of preferences would go re-sign Dalton Schultz, below that, draft a tight end, and then below that, let Brevin Jordan take over the Dalton Schultz role. You've got two of those 3 scenarios covered here, so that's nice. And then Noah Gray, just a side note, Ben is a big Noah Gray guy. Just so you know, Bronc, little between you and me thing. I'm sure Ben won't be listening to this. If you are, fuck you, Ben. All right, so, I mean, Bronc's team is good to go. It's very similar to Ben's, actually. Like, in a perfect world, he would be able to add like an insurance policy at quarterback. No, nothing crazy. Just a solid, warm body to protect him from the terrors of the 2024 fantasy season. Obviously, we saw quarterbacks going down left and right this season. But other than that, I mean, he's got enough at running back. His receivers are great. The tight ends are either very good or great. So yeah, this team is, and he can get plenty of meat on the bone at flex positions between his depth at those 3 positions. So yeah, Bronc might be the favorite to go all the way. I know 24's team is good, but he's got a little bit more of a depth issue at running back, if memory serves. Let's take another quick peek at that. He's got Walker and Hall. He's got Spiller. There's a case to be made for Spiller if absolutely everything goes his way between now and the summer. Yeah, so he's got better coverage at running back than 24 does for sure. Both him and Ben do. He's got tons of receivers, but you can only start 5, which he'll be doing a lot of. And Ben and Bronc have better tight end situations. So yeah, 24 is still punching up at those 2 when it comes to 2024 championship hopes. 24 should win the championship. It's the year 2024. He'll be 118 years old the next time he gets a chance to win it all in the year 20 in a year ending in 24, and 24 is AI, so he will live that long. But all right, so anyway, moving on from Bronc and Ben, who both look very fit to fight, to Lou, who I'm not sure the same can be said for that team. And again, Lou taking over that team just like Bronc took over his. But Lou took over a team that's a little lumpier. This team did make it all the way to third place, did make it to within one game of the championship. But yeah, so Lou's got, first off, he does have his first. Okay, so he does have his first. It's late. Does not have his second, but he sent that 210 to Riche, again, for Amari Cooper. Obviously, that's a slam dunk win for Lou. Even if Riche does manage to turn that pick into something worthwhile, so what? I mean, Amari Cooper's something worthwhile right now. So Cooper's coming off of, I think, his best ever year. Most yards, at least. Yeah, 1,250 yards. Yeah, a lot of that was that crazy Houston game. But anyway. So Lou's got Kyler, Stafford, and Cousins. That's pretty lumpy, top to bottom, obviously. But Stafford had a great comeback season, especially down the stretch last year. Kyler looked good. And Kirk was nails before he went down. So as long as Kirk can re-sign with Minnesota, and I mean, I really have no idea if that's going to happen or not because it's such a weird situation. Vikings have salary cap issues, but they also have all this dead money with Kirk that maybe they can restructure it down if they re-sign him. I don't know. So yeah, so maybe Kirk is back in Minnesota. Their championship window is wide open right now. And what they saw from like Josh Dobbs and anybody else that started for them in place of Cousins had to scare the shit out of him. So I like what he's got going on at quarterback here. It's old, but it's good right now. So he can either run it back with these quarterbacks, or maybe he can sell Cousins. Maybe he can sell Stafford or Kyler. He's talking about selling Kyler already. So the quarterbacks he has right now, though, are solid. All right, he's got Mixon at the top. Mixon is one of those guys that I feel like is nice and safe, and we feel like he's safe right now, but before we know it, we could be hearing a lot of murmurs, a lot of loud murmurs about Mixon being a cut candidate, like he was all through last summer. And he was good. He was good in 2023, but the Bengals have Chase Brown, who also started to look really like somebody they need to get more involved in the offense as the season progressed. So. And I do say that as the Chase Brown owner in this league. So there could be some bias there for sure. But I don't know. Mixon, obviously you're not selling Mixon or wholesaling or anything like that. But just keep an eye on Joe Mixon, I guess is what I'm saying. Rashad White's got that backfield locked up, at least for 2024. Again, he wasn't very efficient, but I don't think the Buccaneers are holding that against him. They know that their offensive line was held together by spit and paper clips this year. And it might be again next year. So, yeah, he's the man there. Pollard's rough. Pollard could wind up out. He could wind up not re-signing in Dallas. In fact, I would say it's like a 50-50 at this point. He could wind up on a worse offense with less of the work to himself in 2024. So, yeah, between Pollard and Mixon, there's a lot of instability in this backfield. Zamir White, maybe he inherits the kingdom in Vegas, maybe not. We'll see. I mean, it's all new everything there. That's never good for a running back that hasn't really established himself. Obviously, White hasn't. Mostert, old as shit. Lou, if you're smart, man, you're trying to shop Mostert. And I know this is not a great league for selling old players, but I think Ben would take him off your hands. Bronc might take him off your hands. Gibbs might take him off your hands. There's never going to be a better time to sell Raheem Mostert. You got to sell one of these running backs, okay? You've got too much value and too much risk tied up in these running backs. So one of them has to go just as a risk mitigation measure, okay? Because if these guys all die, that's going to be a ton of your roster harvest just going to rot, going to waste basically. So get out from under one of them. You got to pick one, at least one. Dalvin's dead. Gibson, might as well hold on to Gibson at this point. Maybe getting out of DC does him some good. He has no value right now, really. Anyway, Khalil Herbert, better off than Gibson, but not much. But I say you're at risk with the older, more expensive running backs. These guys have a case between these two. One of them is going to outperform kind of where we're at on him right now. So that's nice. So you've actually got better overall depth, obviously, than Bronc or Ben at running back. And running back depth saves lives in fantasy football, obviously, so that's nice. Wide receiver was already kind of an issue. Lou's first order of business was slapping a patch on one of the holes in the hull on the wide receiver front and bringing in Cooper for cheap, so that was a nice move. But obviously he's old and a little bit injury prone at wide receiver with Debo there. Hopkins, Cooper, Samuel. I think they're all staying put. Hopkins is too affordable. I think he's getting paid I think it's like 11 or 12 million in 2024, which is just eminently reasonable to me. So he should be back operating as the one, at least to start the season. Back operating as the one on a team that goes from a defensive-minded head coach to a former offensive coordinator. He's got a quarterback that a lot of people really like in Levis. So I think Hopkins is actually a great hold and a great buy low in Dynasty. I mean, yeah, he's going into his age 32 season. He's not going to be around forever. But he's in a good position right now. Cooper, I mean, you already bought him, so there's that. I would say Cooper's kind of a sell right now because he's got the Deshaun Watson problem's not going away. But at the same time, Cooper kind of has survived a lot of crappy quarterbacks and just already his 2 years in Cleveland. Don't come at me with your Jacoby Brissett defenses, please save them. So I think Cooper's he's a solid mid-range wide receiver 2 / super wide receiver 3. And Debo's a pretty super wide receiver 3 when he's healthy. I mean, I know that's a big caveat. He loves to miss games. But, I mean, let's look at his game log. I mean, he had some wide receiver 1 days for sure. 19 fantasy points, 22. He was huge early on and then huger late. I mean, obviously he goes on a touchdown binge down the stretch all through the fantasy playoffs. That's what carried the former owner of this team to pretty close to the championship. Kelsey at tight end obviously is getting long in the tooth. I think Kelsey will be fine. He might even have a little bit of a rebound year next year. You got to keep in mind, the Chiefs receivers were terrible this year. Sky Moore, Kadarius, that crippled the whole offense. That's going to be a first order of business thing to get right for them in the offseason. So Kelsey's fine. I think Kelsey's fine for at least one more year. He didn't look washed to me at all. And then what am I doing? We're going over the wide receivers. So at tight end, he's got. Well, we didn't look at his depth. He's got Cooks. He's got Gallup. He's got Davis. He's got Khalif Raymond, who I don't really care anything about. Lou tried to offer him to me in trade. Go away, Lou. Stop it. He's got Juwan Jennings. I mean, that's just a waste of a roster spot. Juwan Jennings is a blocker. Tyquan Thornton. Thornton's kind of an interesting hold. He's got draft pedigree. He was definitely overdrafted, obviously, in the first, even before he got exposed as not really being ready to play. But he's got true speed. He's a real burner. And, I mean, the Patriots gotta... Yes, they're going to try to bring in weapons. Jared May already said we're gonna burn money in free agency like no other this offseason, which music to Patriots fans' ears after years of Belichickery. But they're going to have to make something out of the groceries they have on hand. And Tyquan Thornton and Demario Douglas are the two most obvious candidates. So I like Thornton as a hold or a super buy low. So that's a nice little piece. This team is actually in pretty decent shape. And then he's got Ramondre camped out on IR. So he's got plenty of bodies at running back. Almost too many. Yeah, Lou, you really got to ship off one of these running backs. 24 has been agitating for a running back. You got to go talk to 24. Put one of these guys in his hands. And then he's got Toon, Badgett, and McBride on the taxi squad. Those are nobodies. Yeah, I mean, Lou's team can compete. I was prepared to come in here and say that Lou is maybe teetering on the edge of needing to sell. But, this team could easily be in the championship too. This is making me much more pessimistic on Reish's chances, though. Alex, you were smart to sell. You got away with one big time winning the championship in year one. These teams, you're not going to compete with these teams. That was never going to happen. So good on you for getting out, Reish. You've just been hemorrhaging so much depth. I just don't see how you close the gap here. I mean, anybody can get lucky. If you get in the playoffs, crazy things can happen. Yeah, sure. But, I mean, my team is strong. Ben, Bronc, and Lou, any of those teams missing the playoffs, I'd be surprised. Your work's cut out for you, Reish. So just bear that in mind as you go forward with whatever it is you're going to do this offseason. All right. Well, yeah, just wanted to tick off 3 more of the 36 Dynasty rosters I aspire to work my way through. So we're 1/6 of the way home. Thanks for watching if you're watching this for some reason. Bye.